So that's verse number 10. What is that? Chapter 6, verse 10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? So, I mean, these are people who died for their faith, and they want vengeance, and I don't blame them, right? I mean, I don't blame them. And again, this is the opening of the fifth seal. John saw the souls of the martyrs in heaven under the altar. We see in the Old Testament the ritual animal sacrifice in Exodus and Leviticus, whereby the blood of the slaughtered animals was poured out at the base of the altar. So instead of seeing now the blood of slaughtered animals under the altar, now we see people out there crying out for vengeance. Two altars are mentioned in Revelation. We've got the golden altar of incense, Revelation 9, and the altar of burnt offerings mentioned here. Okay? And this the souls of the martyrs prostrate themselves because they know that their blood would be avenged, but not immediately. In fact, me and Shelley just talked about that. When is the blood going to be avenged? Okay, we're going to see that not in the next chapter, but I think the next chapter is when we're going to actually see that, okay? They cry out, O Lord, holy and true. And the Greek words signify that the Lord is the master of the family. They're crying out to the master of the family, right? We don't have to cry out to Allah or Buddha or one of the patron saints. We can cry out directly to the Father through Jesus Christ the Son. What a great privilege that is that we have. That we can pray directly to the master of the house. And again, it's beautiful. It's used by those who are part of God's household. He belongs to us and we belong to Him. And their plea is called, again, we looked at that last week, an imprecatory prayer. An imprecatory prayer because they're calling out for judgment upon those who persecuted and killed them. Okay, bless you. So that's a good word. That's a good word to know. So whenever you see this a little bit more in the Old Testament than you do in the New Testament, but every once in a while you'll run across somebody crying out for vengeance or judgment. Won't the righteous judge come and avenge, or something like that. It's called an imprecatory prayer. Both the holiness and truth of God require Him to execute judgment and vengeance. He wouldn't be a holy God or a just God if He didn't do it. Okay? If I my kids are grown up now, but if I told my kids, you better not do that again. If you do that again, you're going to get a spanking. And they do it again. Now I tell you, you better not do that again. If you do that again, I'm going to give you a spanking. I keep saying that. Well, they're going to do it again, right? Because I'm either a weakling in their eyes or I'm a liar in their eyes. Okay? Yeah, well, a weakling or a liar, okay? And so when God says that He's going to have vengeance and He's going to have judgment, then you better believe He's going to do that, right? The prayers of the martyrs will turn into prayers of thanksgiving. I like that. First, they're praying for judgment, but then they're going to be praising the Lord and giving thanksgiving. But for now, they must wait until their number is complete, because we have more saints dying, and until their number is complete, God says, beloved, just wait. Just hold on, just wait, be patient. I'll take care of everything. Verse 11. I don't think we got this far, did we? Then a white robe was given to each of them, and it was said to them that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren would be killed as they were was complete. Okay? So again, they're just having to wait for their number, for all of them to be killed off. But they were given a white robe. A white robe is an emblem of innocence, joy, and victory, given as a token of honor and favorable acceptance. They should rest from their crying and pain as God prepares to avenge them. So, I mean, this is a time of rejoicing. I mean, even though they've not been avenged yet, it's already time to start celebrating because you know God's going to do it. So, I mean, that's why I think Christians should be the happiest people in the world right now. Because whether we're first to be with Jesus or Jesus comes down first, whoever comes first, we know Jesus is coming. Okay? And we know it as a fact. So why don't we begin celebrating, right? We should begin celebrating. There's every funeral I do, I always say, if you're a Christian, there's going to be a family reunion. It's going to be wonderful. I can't wait to get to the marriage supper of the Lamb. I'm hungry already. Yeah. And then I like that concept of, you get the new name on the white stone, and then when you're in the line there, you got to show them the stone, and they check your name off. You have a reservation? Oh, yeah, okay. Come on in. I can't wait. It's going to be nice. Yeah. Verse 12. And I looked when he opened the sixth seal. No, let me back up for just a minute. There's so much I could say about the white robe. A lot I could say about the white robe. The early Christians were baptized naked. Women went in one group and men were in another group. So, they were always separated in Judaism. There was separate groups. They were baptized in the nude. And then when they came out, they had a white robe waiting for them right when they came out. So they were clean. They were, rejuvenated. They, cleansed from sin. And now they had that new robe to put on. Can you imagine how nice that would have been, kind of, in a way? When I was baptized and rebaptized there in Israel, they give everybody a robe to put on. But it's like this prepackaged robe. And when I took it out of the package, it was like this skinny. And I thought, there's no way I can get that on. And even if I got it on, when it's wet, there's no way I'm going to, because it's like a T-shirt. I thought, there's no way I'm going to get that thing off. So I gave it to Shelley, like a souvenir. Yay, a little souvenir. But anyway, so I had shorts and a T-shirt anyway, so I was ready to go. And behold, when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood. Now when the sixth seal was opened, there was a great earthquake. The foundations of the earth and the heavens will be shaken. Now one thing I want to tell you, remember when Jesus comes, on the second coming of Christ, he's going to come out of the sky, and he's going to set foot down on the Mount of Olives. Remember, we've talked about this before. There's going to be a great earthquake that will be felt around the whole world. And we know that there is an earthquake fault right below the Mount of Olives. And so, but this is not that earthquake. A lot of times people try to read into stuff, okay, but we need to make sure that we don't do that. The foundations of the earth and the heavens will be shaken. Sackcloth, one kind, was made of the hair of the Cilician goats. Cilician cloth was used for tents. Okay? So this is what it is, when you skin a goat, not that I know anything about skinning goats. I've never skinned a goat before. But when you skin the goat, what they do is they have a way of shaving the hair off. And the really fine layer of underhair is really soft, and it's black. And that's what they use for sackcloth, okay? It's, we always say that it's like wearing burlap, but no, it's really not like wearing burlap. It's really like, because burlap is sackcloth. But you can't compare the two. One is an animal skin with, it's just kind of like a goose. When you pull the feathers off, it's got that nice soft down underneath. Okay, it's the same concept as this. The moon, the oldest versions read the whole moon, not merely the crescent moon. Okay? So if you go into the oldest manuscripts, the whole moon becomes red like blood. Okay? Be a full moon. Huh? The blood moon, yeah. There is? Ooh. Be kind of weird if an earthquake took place. And oh, really? So the sun will be behind the moon. That's interesting. Yeah. I tried to look at that last eclipse. I figured, oh, I'm tough. I don't need no special glasses. Yeah. My eyes are still screwed up. Okay. Commentary, verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell to the earth as the fig tree drops its late figs when it is shaken by the mighty wind. And so the stars of heaven fall to earth. You know, what's that going to look like? The stars of heaven falling to earth. You know, that can mean so many different things. First of all, the stars of heaven falling to earth, some believe that's a reference to a planetary shift. Does anybody know what a planetary shift is? Yeah, it moves off its axis. So what the belief was is that what is the equator now used to be the poles. And they got so over-iced that the earth began wobbling and a polar shift took place. And then that melted, obviously, and new poles began, okay? And so for years they said we're going to have another planetary shift. But now they can't say that because they say the poles are melting now. So the earth isn't going to start wobbling, okay? But they do find penguin skeletons and all kinds of cold animal fossils at the equator. And the only viable explanation would be a planetary shift took place at one time. That's why if you go back so many thousands of years and you look at old pottery and they do some kind of microcellular scan, they can tell that the natural magnetic pole was in a different location. And then after that fact, they can tell from the examination that the magnetic pole is coming from another direction. So anyway, I don't know. A little hard to explain. Okay, and it could be a reference to a meteor shower. NASA recently unveiled their new meteor buster. Did you hear about that? They want to launch it in so many years, maybe in 10 years now, but it's going to be able to track asteroids much faster than ever before. And if they feel like one is coming too close to Earth to be a threat, they're going to blow that thing up. Okay? Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man, it jumped. That could be a reference to demon hordes descending in masses. Okay? Demon hordes, and as we get more into the text, you'll see why I'm saying this, okay? So it could be, we could be dealing with planetary shift, we could be dealing with a meteor shower, we could be dealing with demonic hordes descending. Okay? So. Okay. The star will fall as a fig tree casts off its figs. Anything, again, with fig is always symbolic of Israel. That's why I always say, you know what, if you want to know what's going to go on with Revelation, keep your eye on Israel. Okay? Winter figs have no protection from leaves, and late figs drop off green before they've had a chance to ripen. In other words, they serve no useful purpose. Okay? And so, yeah, if you have a fig there and it's not ripe, it's hard like a rock, and then it drops off early because of the winter. No winter leaves to protect it. It's useless, okay? And so whatever this is, these falling stars, it's not good. It's not a good thing. The Holocaust took 1 out of every 3 Jews. The tribulation will take 2 out of 3, okay? Just to give you a perspective there from some experts. The church shall be then ripe for glorification, and the anti-Christian world will be ripe for destruction, okay? So everything is being set up for our removal and for the focus to go back onto Israel. By the way, another thing too, I get so many things in my head all the time. Did you hear there was a new election in Turkey? And that Erdogan was re-elected, and he is making things even tighter over there with the Sharia law and the whole... he has written something into the Constitution where he has now complete control. So his advisors, everybody, it's all useless. You know, his panel of whatever, he has complete control now over everything. Everything he says is law. So he's now a legitimate Muslim dictator. Okay? I mean, he's... And the thing is... if you remember when we went to the meetings at Capernaum, General Boykin always said that if you want to see what's going to happen in the Middle East next, he always said, look at Turkey. As Turkey goes, so will the Middle East. Okay? And so we see that right now. Thank you. Did everybody get a chance to do the prayer list? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Verse 14, then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved off of its place. So, I mean, it does sound like a planetary shift, doesn't it? Because everything is going to be laid waste. Everything's going to be laid waste. Jesus said in the end days it will be as it was in the days of Noah. Cosmic events will take place. We know that a flood won't take place, right? Because God promised us there's going to be no more flooding, okay? At that magnitude. The continents will move. The mountains will crumble down. And there will be tidal waves. The old ways will be destroyed, and the earth will be cleansed and in preparation for the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. So we can look at this as a bad thing, but we can also look at it as a good thing, because the slate is being cleaned in a majorly way, and everything is now being prepared for the coming of Christ. Okay. Verses 15 and 16. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So they're hiding themselves, they're crying out, they're freaking out. This total disruption of the planet shall be the precursor of a different earth. People shall seek refuge in the caves because they fear the face of God, but the caves are imploding, right? If all the mountains are coming down and the islands are sinking and everything's going crazy, there's no place that they can hide, is there? They rightfully are sad and fear God, but they are not repentant. You know, you don't see anybody yelling there, oh God, forgive me of my sins. You know, Jesus save me, you know, or you don't hear that part. You know, you just hear people, you know, people can be sorry but not repentant. They're sorry that they got busted. Right? Few will be saved during this time, and God's patience has run out. Maybe the hospital patients did run out. I'll have to fix that, yeah. I always have a hard time with that word. I always struggle with that word. Okay, well, we'll get that fixed. Okay. Verse 17. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? That's kind of a rhetorical question, right? Able to stand. No one can say, oh, Lord, we've been good, we've been righteous, we're here ready for you. No. The righteous will be taken up, and whoever's left is going to be put down. Yeah, no one's going to be able to stand. Who is able to stand? Again, I just said that rhetorical question. No one can stand justified and not condemned before the judge without the grace and mercy of the judge. Thus the sixth seal brings us closer to the Lord's coming, and the ungodly tribes of the earth tremble at the signs of his immediate approach. However, before the Lord Jesus can come to inflict wrath, the elect must be gathered out. And that's what we call the rapture, right? Matthew 24, 6 through 29 plainly forms a perfect parallelism to the six seals, not only in the events, but also in the order of their occurrence. So this is one area where you can kind of read what's happening here in Matthew, and it's lining up right exactly with what the sixth seal says, okay? And so if you're taking notes, this is like a really good thing. Matthew 24:3 deals with the first seal. And so if you want to get a little bit more detail, that's a really good thing to look up. Matthew 24:6 deals with the second seal. Matthew 24:7 deals with the third seal. Matthew 24:7 deals with the end of the fourth seal. Matthew 24:9 deals with the fifth seal. And Matthew 24:29 deals with the sixth seal. Okay? So you can actually go to that chapter and actually pull out maybe even some more information. Did everybody get that? Yeah. All right. And that's the end, and we're done. Perfect timing. Boom! There comes some of those stars hitting the earth, huh? Boom!